Well, greetings all and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be having a look at a very special pen, one which was gifted to me by my wonderful partner, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about Parker. Parker these days has been a company which has sort of flown under the radar amongst many fountain pen users. I guess because they're quite readily available in your local stationery shop, they don't necessarily have the mystique that they once had. But in today's review, we're going to be having a look at why this pen may be something which has flown under the radar of many fountain pen reviewers and users alike. Okay, so I'm going to open up with a question. What really is the true purpose of a fountain pen? Now, I guess some may respond that in some ways they aren't too dissimilar to watches, in that they could be considered to be jewellery items. But really, the main purpose of a fountain pen is to write, and it's to write well. And in a day and age where the quality control can be somewhat mixed, it's really pleasant to come across a brand that performs well out of the box. And I have to say that this Parker Sonnet before you is one such pen which really does the job quite well. So everything from the weight, the grip, the writing, absolutely superb. I've had the pen a couple of days now. I've left it for a couple of days in between and it hasn't dried out. So it ticks all the boxes, really. You know, it's got the performance, it stays ready to write, it's got a snap cap, so it's very, very quick to access. So why is it that maybe Parker has sort of flown under the radar for so many people, certainly in the fountain pen community? And I don't actually honestly know. Maybe because it has perhaps lost the prestige of its original manufacturing in America and then briefly in the UK. They're now made in France. But when we look at this fountain pen, not only is it performing well, it's looking beautiful for it as well. And at around about £180, you're getting a gold nib, you're getting fantastic performance. So it really does puzzle me to why not many people seem to be posting about these on social media. Now, you see these being posted from shops, whether it's at the stationers in the States or from the Colt pens, but you never really seem to see them being featured in users. Now, of course, some might argue that perhaps the Parkers of old, not unlike Mont Blanc, could be argued to be slightly superior in that they offer a slightly more flexible writing experience. But I have to say, you know what, this fine nib is quite fine, to be quite honest. It writes absolutely superb. So what you're getting for £180 is quite a lot of bang for your buck. Now, yes, one could argue the nib size is a tad on the small side. It doesn't command the presence of a number 6 gold nib. But you know what? If we go back to the original question about what the purpose is of a fountain pen, it's to write, and it's to write well. And this pen does it in spades. Forgive the pun, for those that you in the know. But yeah, so we're going to go over to the table. We're going to see how well this pen does truly write, and I'll demonstrate my sort of thoughts and feelings. Okay, so what we have here is a pen that performs superbly. And now this is going to be a running message throughout this video. Pen just writes, and it writes well. What more can you ask? You know, we can be sort of hook, lined and sinkered into certain brands with their very pretty acrylic pens and their flamboyant designs. And whilst there are some design elements which are really beautiful on this pen, what this pen does really well is the business stuff, and that is writing. There is an ever so slight hint of feedback with this nib, which I really like, and that just lets you know that you're writing on the page. It is distinctly different to that of their steel nib variants, and whilst I am a big advocate for steel nibs, I would say that maybe Parker's steel nibs aren't necessarily the best in the game. They leave you a little bit wanting, so to speak. But this 18 karat gold nib really is, you know, the epitome of fine craftsmanship. It's beautiful and it writes well. There's no skipping, there's no hard starts, and it allows for good ink flow. It's not too dry, it's not too wet. It's really quite a nice, happy medium between the two. I'm writing on some beautiful paper from Meticulous ink, and you know, the drying time is pretty much immediately, but it shows off the quality of the ink really nicely. Now that's for another review. Now, if we have a look more closely at the design elements of this fountain pen, what we have here is, I would argue, maybe quite a plain barrel, being maybe quite nice to have a continuation of this fantastic patterning on the barrel, just onto the actual, sorry, on the clip onto the barrel. But it still keeps all the hallmarks of a Parker fountain pen. You know, when I was a child in the 80s, I always remember browsing the Argos catalogues for Parker fountain pens, and there was something, you know, beautiful and majestic and sleek about that arrow clip. You know, there's nothing like this elsewhere in the industry, and it is something which is very synonymous with Parker. The nib is beautiful. It's got some quite modern elements on there, but it does the job, you know. And the grip section is nice. There's a slight texture to it, which allows for a quite comfortable grip. It doesn't slip in the hands. Sometimes I do know that some people worry about having a slippy metal grip section, but because of that sort of micro texture which I'm feeling on there, it's very, very subtle, but it does help you keep control of the pen. And then of course on the inside we do have a cartridge converter. But what's really nice is the fact that the threading is pretty quick. Now there's some pens I feel like I could be doing this forever and ever, but you know, the name of the game with this pen really is ease and quickness. Snap cap, fantastic. Off and you're writing. What more could you really ask for? Well, you know, just to sum everything up in a nutshell, we have a pen here which is perhaps on the slightly pricier side. We have a pen which probably would fly under the radar for many, but you know what, I reckon if you were to give Parker a try, I don't think you would be disappointed. I think, you know, as I say, we live a day and age where maybe, you know, the Schaeffers and the Parkers and the Crosses of this world just sort of don't really have any interest really with a lot of fountain pen enthusiasts, but they really are quite good fountain pens. And I think certainly Parker is a pen brand that you really need to look into. Anyway, well, that will leave it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed the content. If you've got any questions, please do leave them down in the comment section below. And as always, do like and share and subscribe if you haven't done so. Any comments, any likes, it really does help with the actual growth of this channel. But anyway, that's it for today. And the only thing left for me to say is stay safe and goodbye for now.